This is Abby, and this is a video on Virgo rising. So once again, the rising sign represents the role you had when you were growing up in the family and how you learned to survive in the world. So this is how you acted on these situations and often how you look. It's the filter through which the rest of your planets, like your sun, moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, everything, moves through so that it can be expressed in the real world to others. And the way you determine what your rising sign is you have to know time of birth, and you can plug it into any site that offers free horoscopes, like natal charts. And I use astro.com, and there's a link on my website. So if you have a Virgo rising in the family, you were sort of subdued. You were expected to be a helper. You were expected to be someone that helped clean up or nurse. You were of service somehow to your family. So you might be like the oldest child if you had a parent that required a lot of help with younger kids, or was an ailing parent, so you had to take care of them physically somehow. Or you could be kind of like one of the younger ones who was just sort of overlooked but expected to do whatever was needed because they just didn't have time to sort of put you in the spotlight, because Virgo's not a spotlight type of sign. Virgo is a sign that's of service, and it is very analytical. It's an earth sign, so it's very practical and pragmatic. No one is more detail oriented than Virgo. So when you have a Virgo rising, you usually are very attentive to the details of how you look, not necessarily in a vain way or, like spend hours in front of the mirror, because that wouldn't be practical to a Virgo rising. They would find the quickest and most efficient way to look good and be done. And everything is practical, so Virgos want things that fit well and are of practical use, and they always look good in any situation because they understand the details of whatever social structure they have to be in. Virgo risings are often kind of on the small side. They have a kind of pleasing look because they have kind of long and lean like arms and legs, and they're petite. They have like a petite bone structure. Like if you think of Sissy Spacek, she is a triple Virgo, I think. And like if you see her in the movie Carrie from the 70s, that's like a Virgo look. She's just very like petite and like thin. They're usually tiny. In Virgo rising, you are preoccupied not only with being of service and working and just constantly like organizing and trying to help people through the attention to small details, but you have a preoccupation with health. You might be a little bit of a hypochondriac, and the reason you are is because when you give too much of yourself through service, you can tend to ignore your other needs. This is true of any Virgo, anything, Virgo sun, Virgo moon, but with the rising sign, it's how you survive in new situations, is you take a step back and say, how can I help? So you're very subdued usually at first. You're not very like in your face in new situations, but people like Virgo risings because they're just they're warm as an earth sign, and they're willing to please, and who doesn't like that? So people tend to get along, but when Virgo gets out of whack, because it's just giving too much and like too focused, it can get anxious. Anxiety is a big thing with Virgo, and also the hypochondriac stuff. It can be like OCD, or just any health issues. If you're, especially for Virgo, it rules the digestive system. So I know a lot of real Virgos and Virgo risings who, when they're like stressed out, when they're working too hard, or they're not focusing on their own personal creative needs, because Virgo can overlook creative, selfish needs, then they can get all sorts of out of whack, like, just stomach issues and all that. So that's something that is very touch and go with Virgo. But Virgo risings are a mutable sign, which means they're really flexible. So they're just sort of here to work around other people, to adapt to the world around them. Like I said, they're called a passive sign. The earth and water signs are passive, so they stay sort of behind the scenes as much as they can, despite what their sun sign is. So it can be a bit difficult if you have like a Leo sun. I knew a guy who had a Virgo rising with a Leo sun, so his sun was in the 12th house, which was extra hard. And he was always working, workaholic, um, obsessed with fitness, not like to bulk up, but just like health and like eating right and exercising, which is very Virgo-y. But he would get all out of whack because his sun was Leo and he wanted to like shine in a way. He wanted to be recognized, and it's easy to overlook a Virgo rising and not give them the credit they deserve, which was frustrating for him. So, it's not, it's got to work, you've got to work with what you've got, but that's basically the gist of a Virgo rising. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and thank you for watching.